Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you FoR versus Charge in the second Asia Pacific tournament. This is round 1, and the winner of this game will be moving on to round 2. The loser will be dropping down to the lower bracket, just like the last game that I casted. So this is Carpiquet, and we're going to be seeing FoR with his 2nd Infantry today, Charge on the 21st Panzer. Similar matchup to a lot of what we saw in the Great Paradox tourney, where we had the 15th Infantry go up against the 21st Panzer. The dynamic works in a very similar way, in that the Churchills out of the 15th Infantry Scots tend to get replaced by things like the Priests when you play the 2nd Infantry, and then you have sort of your mainline tanks. Like early on, instead of having Honey Stewarts, you have M4s. And that can make for a stronger opening out of the 2nd Infantry, but they do have some quite expensive infantry that can kind of catch you out if you're not too careful. So we'll have to see what FoR goes for, because you can go for the rifle option, which is sort of more availability, more health on your infantry, but less sort of potency. Or you can go for like the Ranger squads, like Ranger Assaults, Ranger Supports, and those can net you quite a few more kills as the game goes on, but are generally weaker in terms of health, so you got to be careful about things like mortars and HE units that can pin down those squads and kill them off very quickly. But on this top side, let's have a look at what's going on for Charge. He has decided to bring in 2 units of recon. He's got the SBW221 here with recon, and the SBW222, 2-star one, with even more recon there. So basically going to be covering this airfield with as much recon as possible. Then he's got the Panzerhaubitze 39 here. This has 12 AP at 1200 meter range. It also has a 15 HE, which is very useful for killing things from range. The main thing that you got to worry about though with this Panzerhaubitze 39 is that the main gun is only 4 accuracy. That doesn't really matter for the 15 HE, but for the 12 AP, that's a problem because you only have 6 rounds, and if they're all missing, that's not very good at all. But Panzergrenz are going to be starting on this top side as well. Most likely going to be trying to contest these hangars up here, or maybe just take a hangar on his side of things. So Charge there with a pretty good setup, although I would maybe like to see the S307 pack up here instead of the Panzerhaubitze. For the town, 2 units of U304s with the Panzergrenz. We've got the Befehl-Panzer 35S moving in, SBW222 rolling down to the bottom side with more recon. So very recon focused out of Charge. I like it a lot. For FoR, we have the Jeep 30 cal with his own recon there. We've got Jeep with an AT gun. There is some Ranger supports. We've got the Ranger mortar there, Ranger assault squad. We have the Ranger command with some rifles. Then nearer the airfield, we have the Jeep 30 cal with another recon squad, Ranger support squad there. And on the very top side, it's going to be another Jeep 30 cal with recon, Ranger command. We have the Ranger support and rifles here. Also the M4 Double D making a showing on this top side. Now that's interesting. If this is played around properly, this M4 might find a kill onto this Panzerhaubitze eventually. If the Panzerhaubitze doesn't find a penetrating shot from that range, because that is 12 AP versus about 10 armor, so that's like 17% penetration chance from maximum range. So although, you know, Charge may look like he has an advantage here, that is a 4 accuracy gun that's got to try and find a penetrating shot at 1200 meter range. The M4 is opening up onto the U304 here. Let's see what's happening on this bottom side. 222 is rolling up onto the Jeep 30 cal here. However, the M1 gun looks to have that under control. If the 222 dies here, that will open up the bottom side of the map for FoR. Charge going to have to rush down this U304 to stop that front line from collapsing back in favour of FoR. Panzergrenz now moving up. 222 is going for the push across the airfield. We did see the U304 die on this top side. Panzerhaubitze has already fired 2 of its AP shells and hasn't done any damage to this M4 Double D. Now the Ranger mortar 60mm going to be firing away onto this Befehl Panzer 35S. Looks like FoR does not want to be fighting that anytime soon, so he's going to try and suppress it and give his infantry a chance to jump forwards. The deployment of these rifles and the ranger leader here is a bit of a mystery to me. I feel like, considering how far they are from the front line, I'd like to see them pushed up a bit more. And that's exactly what's going to happen now as these rifles are moved up. Same with the ranger supports on this bottom side. You can definitely make a lot of ground by moving them up here. It's currently a 50-50. The 222 is getting a lot of ground on this airfield though. Most of the ground being made for FoR at the town. The ground being made for charge on this airfield at the moment. So the Panzerhaubitze is engaging the M4, but the M4 has found range onto the Panzerhaubitze. This is not good for charge at all. This M4 just destroyed the tracks of the Panzerhaubitze as well. One more shot will force that to fall back, and then that Panzerhaubitze is not going anywhere. That's just going to be the kill shot, and that is a Panzerhaubitze down. Now that is exactly the reason why I would have preferred to have seen the S307 pack, because the pack would have been able to do a lot more damage to an M4DD at that range. 222 has also found its way into range of the M4DD, and that has the possibility of closing this salient and honestly putting the +1 in favour of FoR, who already has 156 points in his favour. Ranger Mortar going to be opening up onto these Panzer Grenadiers, going to try and pin those down so that the rifles can continue to push forwards. Ranger Sports are now moving up on the bottom side, so is the M1 gun here. Ranger Marauders are going to be joining the infantry in the town. One unit Panzergren's now pinned down, the second will surely follow, as more reinforcing infantry should be the priority here for FoR at the moment. 221 has found its way very close to this hangar. However, at close range, the M4DD can pretty much take that out very easily. And even these Ranger leaders, honestly, could use their 20 HE power grenade or even the 50-meter grenades that they have to take that out. But the M4 is going to do the job, as well as pinning down the Panzergrens here. And this M4 can put out so much HE damage. Those Panzergrens do not want to be anywhere near that. Panzer 35S is rolling up on that top side. Not sure if that's exactly the best choice for engaging an M4DD. The S307 pack, definitely a better choice here. So good to see that finally coming in, although a bit late to the party. Second unit Panzergrens did find themselves pinned down, but the first unit has recovered fully. So as these rifles move up, there will be an engagement between those Panzergrens and the rifles once again. So we just got to figure out really what Charge can do in this position, because his Panzergrens did just get absolutely chewed up here by the M4DD. The engagement between the M4 and the Panzer 35 will definitely go in favour of FoR as well. So it's really, I think, just Charge needs to rely on this S307 pack to find a kill onto the M4, and then maybe he can push some infantry into this compound and use his Panzer 35 to support that. Having his Panzerhaubitze alive still would have also been very helpful in this situation if the M4 did get killed off. But with that Panzerhaubitze dead, it's going to make dislodging a lot of this infantry a lot harder. Ooh, that's a big kill. And rifles get killed on the road here by the Befeld Panzer 35 before they unload, so a infantry squad going down for free there for losing that unnecessarily, I feel. Panzer Grenadiers under fire from Ranger supports and rifles here. This Ranger Mortar doing a good job of pinning down these Panzergrens, but I just don't feel like there's enough time really for any infantry to run across here and try and make those surrender. And well, they can't make them surrender at the moment anyway because of the Befeld Panzer 35S with the command radius. So these Ranger Marauders, they're down on the bottom side now. And preferably, I think I would like to have seen them come up and accompany these rifles up this road, because he has already seen the Befeld Panzer 35 here, and you know, he knows that's there. So bringing up the Ranger Marauder and sneaking that through the buildings would have been a good choice to try and get rid of that. But Panzer Grenadiers are now going to be finding themselves pinned down in this building as the Ranger support do engage them. This might open up a chance for FoR to run across this orchard and make those surrender, because there is no command stopping that from happening. Ranger Marauders finding their way into this tree line. Ranger Marauders going to be engaging the Aufklärer, but the Ranger Marauders are on the move. With the help of the Jeep 30 cal, I feel like the Ranger Marauders should win that engagement, but you never know. 2 on 2 with the 6HE between them. Yeah, it looks like it's going to fall in favour of the Ranger Marauders nonetheless. U304 moving forwards here to stop the surrender of the Panzergrenz. That's also going to be covered off there. The smoke coming in from FoR to stop the U304 hitting his Ranger support. Panzergrenz finding shots onto the Jeep 30 cal here. Ranger supports in the town finding themselves under fire from the Panzergrenz. This Befehl Panzer 35 can definitely be pretty aggressive, just has to be careful of rocket launcher units like the Ranger Marauders on this top side of the town, so that would give him reason to be more cautious. M7DD has been brought in, and that's going to be trying to find 1,200 meter range engagement with its HE. Also an M5 gun rolling its way across the airfield now, going to try and make things difficult for charge, since an M5 gun does have the 1,200 meter range. And an S-07 pack, for example, doesn't have HE, so it can't do the fire position trick to try and get rid of that M5 gun. And that M5 gun can quite simply deny all of this armor on the top side of the map, so very nice of FoR to bring that in. It's also very hard for Charge to get a artillery unit that can hit that as well, because he doesn't have any airplanes. I think the only airplanes that you can get as the 21st Panzer is the Me-109G0. It's not going to be really enough to pin down an M5 gun. Not effectively anyway. And he doesn't really have any artillery at this point to do the damage. So yeah, he's in a pretty tough spot at the moment without the Panzer habits. Losing that early on was definitely detrimental to his game plan. Brumbar is being brought into the town, and that could be a nice choice to destroy infantry squads quickly and effectively. But I'm kind of worried that he's going to find that killed by either the Ranger Marauders or the M1 gun, because the use of smoke at the moment by FoR to prevent any aggression out of Charge is really, really good at the moment. We also see an M4DD rolling into the town and at close range. That will be able to destroy the Brumbar no problem, and also the Befehl Panzer 35S here. So Charge has got himself into a pretty sticky situation. Again, I think it all comes down to losing the Panzer habits early on to the 1,000 meter range engagement with the M4. That probably should have never happened. And that's basically meant that where Charge's division really shines in the open up here, he doesn't have the advantage, and that's really sort of killing him at the moment. These Panzergrenz finding themselves pinned down as well due to the 60mm mortars. Both of them out of ammunition though, so that might give a bit of respite to Charge. But the M4 now showing up, going to be popping one of these U304s most likely. Unless it misses, of course, at that range. Ranger supports engaging the Panzergrenz here, finding themselves pinned down. M4 still being aggressive. Going to be taking out one of the half-tracks. But the main threat of this M4 is that it can do a lot of damage to these Panzergrenz in these buildings and allow the infantry of FoR to just roll up there and take those buildings from Charge. Because there is still no command here as well. So this could easily turn into a double surrender on those Panzergrenz. SPW-233 going to be engaging the Jeep 30 cal on this bottom side. Brumbar is engaging the M4, but the driver has been knocked out on the Brumbar, so that Brumbar is not going anywhere anytime soon. Infantry arriving here. I'm very interested to see whether FoR will go for this double surrender, as it's definitely a possibility. 5 HE on the main gun, 6 HE on the 50 cal, 7 HE on the 30 cal. More than enough to pin down these Panzergrenz very quickly indeed. And that's just going to allow the rifles to run them over. We do see the Duck coming in here to give more ammo to the 60mm mortar. That will also help pin down the Panzergrenz very quickly. Brumbar has its driver knocked out again. That driver is not having a very fun time. And, well, Brumbar going to be forced to fall back here. Doesn't look like it's going to show side armor. M4 not having enough time here to find that kill. The main thing that the M4 here has to do is get rid of this U304 so that the rifles can try and go for the surrender onto the Panzergrenz. And it's definitely looking exactly how I said it would, as these Panzergrenz might end up getting double surrendered. It depends in which direction they end up falling back. Panzer IV-G is arriving. That's going to be used to try and engage the M4DD. The only trouble with this engagement is that the Panzer IV, if it doesn't get a shot in the first 2 shots, like on target, it might end up just dying, because it only has 6 armor versus the 11 AP of the M4DD. We also see up here the M7 has engaged the SBW222, and the M5 gun, it looks like it found a shot onto the S07 pack and got the weapon jam there. So the armor on this top side eventually being cleaned up by FoR, just like I mentioned early on. Now the M1 gun did get killed on this bottom side, but the xylophone is arriving, and that could put down a heavy strike onto this Panzer IV-G and this infantry. And if that goes down, then the M4 has a very good chance of getting a good engagement with this Panzer IV-G. Oh, nice kill there onto the SBW233. Xylophone firing away. Does manage to do a lot of morale damage to the Panzer IV-G. Not quite forcing its fall back. Maybe FoR will still go for the engagement, who knows. But at the moment on this top side, the M5 gun really dominating here. PanzerHabitzer is arriving. And now we're in phase B. Charge does have another of those to use. So we'll have to see if that can do the fire position trick onto the M5 gun to remove that, because if he does remove that, and he re-enables his S307 pack and maybe even the Panzer IV-H, then he might be able to kill off both the M4 and the M7DD, and then have a lot of pressure on this top side where he could start to clean out this infantry. But that's a long shot. This PanzerHabitzer has to be pretty much microed perfectly to find the kill onto the M5 gun. And he's got to do it quickly as well, because still a +2 in favour of FoR. He's racking up a lot of points and a lot of territory. 63% territory now in favour of FoR. PanzerHabitzer has found the range onto the M5 gun, but I'm scared that he is just engaging directly with this PanzerHabitzer at the moment. It looks like the M5 gun's busy distracted by the Befehl Panzer 35S, which may allow this PanzerHabitzer to find a kill. He's got the pin. Can he find the kill? That is the question. SDKFZ-10 coming in with a Pak 40. That might be good enough to engage the M4DD and the M7. This PanzerHabitzer really needs to focus on killing off this M5 gun, otherwise it can just come back and bite him real hard. Panzer IV-H needs to also be engaging the M4. Pak 40 needs to find line of sight. It's been unloaded just behind those trees. That may just be a little bit too slow. S307 Pak still being forced back. Pak 40 has got line of sight onto the M4. Can he find the kill? This is very important at the moment. The M5 gun is not dead, so the Panzer IV-H under fire. Just about managed to get out of range. Panzer 39 needs to do the fire position trick, otherwise it's most likely going to die. It's dead. It's dead. Charge really needed to do the fire position there in front of the M5 gun. And just as predicted, not killing this M5 gun has been very costly for Charge. The hit there onto the Panzer IV-H is very big indeed. Forcing it to fall back now allows the M4 to just continue the harassment there. Pak 40 is going to be pinned down again. Focke-Wulf 190G1 just a bit late there. Would have been nice earlier on, because with that M5 gun gone, there wasn't really much of a chance that the M4 and the M7 would have survived against the units that were on the ground. But big mistake. And on this bottom side, looks like the M4A1 and the M4 have found the kill onto the Panzer IV-G. So that's opening things up on the bottom side. 67% territory now for FoR. 1,600 points in his favour. Ranger Marauders here, finding a bazooka shot into the U-307 flak as well. More units just dying. Panzergrens are going to go down there as well. Internal fragments onto the Panzerhaubitze Lorraine. The Xylophone's going to be hitting the half-tracks here. And the MG42. Things are just collapsing now for charge entirely. Panzerhaubitze Lorraine's gone. This Brumbar is going to be falling back soon. And once it does, it might end up showing side armor. And if that's the case, it might end up dying as well. Yep, engine destroyed. That has its side armor facing. It's going to be dead very soon. Ranger Marauders are running down the U-304s. Fantastic play here by FoR. Some big mistakes though coming out of charge. Where both of those Panzerhaubitzes were concerned, they just didn't pay off at all. When they really could have in this matchup. Double Pioneers being brought in here. They're going to get pinned down almost instantly by the M7DD. Oh, but there is going to be a kill onto the M4 on this top side eventually. But this M7 has all day long until the PAT-40 decides to get in line of sight there, because that is just disgusting. 2 units of infantry just going to be constantly pinned down, constantly damaged. The whole lot of them have to fall back. But with the M4 dead now here, that might allow this Panzer IV-H to find a kill onto the M7. That would be very, very good indeed. Looks like he's going for the fast move to find the range. The PAT-40 also trying to go for a shot there, but missing, getting itself killed off. Panzer IV-H has to find this kill. Although, in my opinion, it's very much too late for any real comeback from charge. But this is what he needed to do early on. Kill that M4, kill the M7. That would give him a lot of pressure on the top side. Just maybe like push through this airfield where his deck really comes to life. And then maybe he could concede the town and it wouldn't matter so much. But with the territory lead that FoR has at this moment in time, there is only 2 minutes and 25 seconds until FoR's victory, plus the 3 on the board, 74% territory lead. Things just going from bad to worse very quickly for charge. Only getting a little bit back on this top side. M7 is almost dead. Panzer IV just needs to find a shot on target before the M7 creeps out of the 1,000 meter range. Doesn't look like the Panzer IV's been micro properly there. Is going to be starting to fire at the rifles instead, allowing the M7 to get away from that engagement. M4A1 is rushing down the airfield. And is that going to go for the engagement with the Panzer IV-H? I'm guessing it is. It has the 2-star veterancy, 5 accuracy, versus the Panzer IV's 6 accuracy and no veterancy. So the M4A1 here just a little bit more accurate. Has the AP value to penetrate a Panzer IV. Looks like that Panzer IV-H though, not going to hit anything anytime soon with that morale loss. FoR can just run down that Panzer IV now, and that will break down the top side of the map once again. Rifles making ground on the bottom side very easily. Double Marder 1 here, not really going to be doing too much. Oh, and the M7DD there finds the kill onto the Panzer IV-H. That is massive. That was a rear shot. The HE there, 15 HE blowing up behind the Panzer IV, finding the kill. It's not often you see that happen. Very nice indeed. 4-4. Really sums up the game. FoR using his combination of units very effectively. I really like the use of his mortars throughout this game as well. Ryan Werfer has been brought in, going to be trying to pin down the infantry as it advances, but doesn't do too much in the end. That is victory. 4-4 finds the 2,500 conquest points after 21 minutes and 51 seconds. Dominating performance there for FoR. 1,705 kills to 375 losses. Even more of a disparity than we saw in the last game where Eugen defeated Blaise Fire. But There we go. FoR taking down Charge in round 1 of the second Asia Pacific tournament. Let's have a look at these kills. M7DD did pick up that Panzer IV H kill, just making sure that I saw that correctly. M5 gun rolling across that field, picking up the Panzer 35S and the Panzerhaubitze. That is very important. And this M4DD as well, taking out the first Panzerhaubitze. The fact that Charge allowed that M4 to get into range is just not ideal, and eventually led to his disadvantage in the top side of the map. Bringing in the second one and allowing the M5 gun to live, that was the second mistake that really sort of sealed the deal for FoR, because he didn't have to worry about the top side of the map anymore, and he was already winning in the town, which was likely to happen due to the unit compositions that can come out of the 2nd Infantry compared to the 21st Panzer. Like in a town, 2nd Infantry, with the infantry that it has, definitely more favoured against the Panzer Grenadiers out of Charge, unless Charge can use a significant amount of artillery to sort of push back the 2nd Infantry. But that really only comes in Phase B, and by then Charge was too far behind, so couldn't really rely on that artillery, and that's how it ended up. So yeah, good job FoR. Going to be moving on to round 2. But in the meantime, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.